What if the president wakes up tomorrow and says, I don't want any black people in the military? Do we give deference to him on that? Well, no.
So if he wakes up tomorrow and says, it's not okay to be gay or lesbian.
I mean, this is ridiculous. It is a ridiculous argument.
Let's hop into a CNN panel as they debate the Supreme Court upholding Trump's transgender bans in the military. So if you can, take a moment, leave us a like. It helps the video, helps the channel, and let's hop right into the panel.
If they can't produce evidence that this actually does, in fact, have an impact on readiness, I mean, how is this not then just discrimination?
Well, it's the opinion of the commander-in-chief, who, according to our Constitution, is the head of the military. I mean, regardless of anyone's opinion or anybody's, whatever side you're on, whether you're for it or against it, at some juncture, the president is the commander-in-chief of the military, and he has and should have broad latitude to determine how the armed forces should be operated. And so I think that's what he's doing here. I think that's ultimately what the court said today, was that the president is the commander-in-chief, and we gotta respect that under our Constitution.
But I mean, to her point, if there's not a downside, and it's been going on for years now.
It is just discrimination, like definitionally, right? You can bet that if Joe Biden had decided no conservatives in the army, no Christians in the army, that MAGA would be crying discrimination. There's no statistical reason for doing this, meaning you're doing it just on the basis of this group of people is one that you don't like, and that's discrimination. And if they can keep up with the standards of any other soldier, again, why not? It doesn't seem very America first to want our military to be weaker, to be smaller in scope for some ideological purpose. But I do love how Scott Jennings avoids the question, because it's not a matter of if Trump can do this. I mean, the Supreme Court upheld that he can, right? It's about the morality behind what is clear-cut discrimination, what it says for where our country is headed, and more importantly, what it says about the vision for America that the president has.
What if the president wakes up tomorrow and says, I don't want any black people in the military? Do we give deference to him on that? Well, no. No, wait a second. It's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous because you're discriminating against a group of people in a very similar way. No,
I knew you were going to say that, but
excuse me. Well, I'm glad you.
I'm going to leave this one alone today. I'm curious. Why is it ridiculous? I mean, you just said the president should be the one who just decides.
Right.
So if he decides, he wakes up tomorrow and says, I think it's bad for morale, it's bad for cohesiveness, for there to be black people in the military, Latino people in the military. Just in her hypothetical scenario, what's the difference between that and what we're seeing here?
I mean, are you really going to go down this ridiculous road?
I'm sorry.
This is ridiculous. It is a ridiculous argument.
He can't answer that, by the way, because there is no logic here he can answer with for justifying a transgender ban that wouldn't also justify a ban against African Americans in the army, against women in the army, against gays in the army, against Christians in the army. When you say the president and the president alone has the say and it's unchecked and unmitigated, and it doesn't matter, again, if it's actually for the better or worse of the army, what then stops him from banning women or black people or Latinos? This is why, in the face of discrimination, we slam the door in its face, not just let its foot in the door because, well, its attention isn't directed at us right now. It's at a different group, because just like that, it can turn towards you. So why risk it?
What is the difference between, prohibiting certain groups like transgender people from serving versus, people based on their race or even their gender, frankly?
I personally think there's a difference, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, I will say...
Do you believe that race and... Are you saying that the quality of race and the quality of transgender are the same?
I'm just asking the question because I think you're making there's a distinction, but you're not explaining why.
No, I'm asking, you guys brought up the hypothetical. Are you arguing that someone's race is the same as someone choosing to become transgender?
But your argument, you've made the argument twice that the commander-in-chief's opinion is all that matters. You've said that twice now.
Well, under the Constitution, yes.
So if he wakes up tomorrow and says it's not okay to be gay or lesbian and serve, because that's his opinion, there's nothing to back that up. They meet the physical standards, they meet the intellectual standards, they have voluntarily decided to serve their country, to give their life for this country.
And it's more about why cycle back to the same old arguments of racism and the justification of discrimination that we as a society has largely moved past. I mean, these are the cycles of fascism and oppression. And when you say, well, the president alone gets to choose, we get exactly this sort of thing where he begins to push the barriers ideologically by, for him, fascistically, and for racial motivations, right? Where trans people, then possibly gays and lesbians are next. And how long before women? How long before people of color? Why even open the door to the possibility of this when we could just say no discrimination of any kind doesn't fly. And gender and race aren't the same in that race is about how you look and gender is about expression and identity, but they are the same in that they are immutable characteristics, that they are social constructs. And we as a society have decided that it is not for the better of our people to discriminate based on immutable characteristics. And even if you want to argue that it's not an immutable characteristic, gender isn't, right? What are the odds that MAGA would then allow a Christian ban on the military? That's not immutable either to them. Or if you voted for Trump, you're banned. Again, conservative ban to them. As long as they are on the top end of the power imbalance, they will always justify it. And this is why it's hard for me to give them sympathy when something goes wrong and then all of a sudden they want to play victim.